Hello everyone, I'm Francois Pomerleau, and with Ramzi we're both co-chair of the Research and Training Committee. I will try to make it short and data-driven so we can catch up a bit on time. So our Research and Training Committee, we span across Canada, so we have representatives from the Atlantic, Quebec, Ontario, the Prairies, and BCs. We try to have also senior, mid-career, and early career representing, and we are at 33% in terms of women representation, which is beyond the membership of the Robotic and Automation Society, which is 15%. So we are quite happy of maintaining that base. Yeah. We work very hard to have that representation up to now. So what we are up to, we have a vision that by 2030, Canadian advancement in robotics have an increased impact globally, and we address worldwide societal changes important to Canadian. So essentially, that's the research part. How can we bring new idea, innovation into the system that makes sense and are useful? On the other side, we would like to have Canadians who have a functional level of robotics literacy so that the population know what is a robot and how to deal with it, and that youngsters are exposed to a clear career path across multiple academic levels, that you don't need a PhD or 8 postdocs to do robotics. That should be clear for people from high school up to the university, which is not the case right now. We conducted the first mapping of capability in terms of professors across Canada. Here's what we could find. So we had experts scanning all of the web in searching for who at least identified themselves as roboticians. We can say that out of it, we have 2 large clusters, which is University of Waterloo, University of Alberta. That was a surprise for me, by the way. And University of Toronto, and all of those 3 universities are the only one having either an institute or a hub that is 100% dedicated to robotics. We see institute and all of the organization having robotics listed as a sub-branch very far, but those are taking a leading position there. And you see that we go down rapidly up to 6 to 4 people. Out of that, we ask also ourselves what kind of scientific production is going out of that. So a researcher are being tracked by many metrics. We picked the I-10 number, which is every paper that receives more than 10 citations. So we call that noticeable scientific publications. And here we see that the orders switch a bit. And in yellow, you will see the latest publication, so the 5 years index track. So that also gives you an idea of who is publishing what and at which level. We could find that there's actually, out of 200 universities in Canada, there's 40 that are active in research, publishing regularly. And for people on the industry, that means it's close to 1,700 new ideas that is pulling out every year from the researchers. So you have a bunch of IPs to grab on. Then we had the bad idea to take all of those names of the researcher and do an official census of how many HQP, highly qualified personnel, have been trained. And then we learned that researchers or prof don't answer the email at all. That took me like 20 revision and email, and then people complaining that question 1A was not right, and then all of that mess. Unsurprisingly, but at least you have the numbers, there's way more HQP being trained in Ontario, and then the next one is Quebec. And by the way, here's a screenshot of what is seated in the lab. When you put a PhD, it's usually like 5 years to cook in the oven, so it's not the throughput, it's not what is getting out, it's what is currently being trained. What was interesting to do was to divide by the population, and then we see a different trend, is that Quebec and Atlantic Canada has a higher ratio of HQP, followed by Ontario, and where it was new information for me is that British Columbia and Saskatchewan, Manitoba were a bit lower than expected. So I saw that there's some cluster of BC robotics that are represented, so it's very good news to push those numbers. This is informal. I asked our community what are the international activities that they are pushing on. So it's very hard. Now we have the keywords, we have the training, and we have also the companies who try to see what are the cluster of expertise in Canada. But this is tougher than it looked like, so this is preliminary work. We have a good hub in University of Alberta, anything around biomedical robotics. And then there's a layer from Waterloo and the University of Calgary and Thompson, who published recently a new humanoid standard through the IEEE humanoid study groups. So they try to get influential on that side. For field robotics, so field robotics is people going outside and deploying robots and trying to learn out of that. We have a good international layer with the event, yearly event. We have the chief editor for the IEEE transaction on robotics, who is Canadian, and we are pushing heavily to have the IEEE technical community cluster head to be also Canadian. And lately, the Health and Safety Institute from Quebec, through Honda, and I think there will be a roundtable out of that, publish a new ISO standard about robotics and the term cobotics, which should not exist as far as I understood. Some key takeaways. If you take all of the split of institute and so on, we have 4.7 research institute focusing on robotics. There's only 4 active Canada research chair, which is a bit lower than what I expected. But within the system, there's still 16 former research Canada chair that are around. We could list 231 prof in robotics. 63% out of them are considered as active in terms of research productions. And overall, for the last 35 years, 13,000 noticeable scientific paper. As a screenshot of 2025, we could gather the information that there's 155 companies, organizations supporting the research system. We have about 1,000 of specialized talent currently in training, which, if you do some basic computation, sum up to 35 millions in training. And we could also pick up, so what is the discovery grant level? It's only 5 million that is currently accessible. That's the idea. That's the free money that the researchers has to explore. And that's a bit low if you consider, depending what is your own number. Lesson learned from mapping the capability. Right now, the field is still fragmented in Canada, and we're working very hard to bring it back through the consortium. I see it both ways. Either I'm hearing I'm not doing robotics because I'm doing that new fancy thing, which let's call it physical AI, which confuse people and make it hard to actually gather. But there's also the other side. There's the old prof that was doing car and automotive, and then suddenly the car has a computer and sensors, and is doing robotics, but he didn't know it yet. So bringing all of that together is harder than expected. And then when we are looking for funding or anything else, what I hear is that I would really like to help, but I don't know where to start because at least within the government, the field is still very fragmented. So there's no anchor point, someone that would take robotic as a whole. They all want the tiny bit of transportation or advanced manufacturing and so on. So that's it for me.